Greetings to all from a beautiful spring day in New York City. Today we're talking about decluttering with one of our experts, author, organizational consultant, Wendy Ellin. She's from Atlanta and she's popping in to say hi. Hi, Wendy.
Hi, Tam. How are you?
I'm good. We're talking about decluttering today and dumping stuff we don't need. It's spring after all, and with the popularity of this crazy Marie Kondo thing, everybody's talking about getting rid of stuff. You were the original Marie Kondo in the Campowerment world. Talk to us about decluttering and what it is about that really helps free us and why.
Oh my God. I am the biggest declutter supporter on the planet. Everybody asks me, what do I think about Marie Kondo? Everywhere I go, they're asking me about her. And I'm like, listen, I will support anyone that does what I do. Because I'm out to help the world, and I'm just one little girl here in Atlanta, Georgia. I can't do that on my own. Good for her. But here's what I say. Number one, I think that everything in life should bring you joy. I don't necessarily think that you have to hug it to know whether it brings you joy, which is Marie Kondo's shtick. But the reality of it is, it's got to bring you joy. Life is too short, right? Number two, spring is a time where everything is renewed. It's a change time. The grass is greener. The blossoms are blooming. The old went out and the new is coming in. It's a new time change. The days stay longer. It's really a time to look at yourself and your life and say, okay, what's not serving me well? What doesn't bring me joy? What's taking up too much space? So right away, here's my best recommendation. I always tell everybody, get a box, an empty box, and stick it in the hallway of your home. And walk around for the next week, and every time you see something that you don't use, that you don't love, that doesn't bring you joy, or that's taking up space, dump it in the box. Let's see how much you can actually get rid of in your house just by walking around and living your life. Right? You live your life. You go to the same drawers all the time. You pull out the same stuff. Why are you holding on to stuff is what I ask.
That's the question I want to ask you. Why do we hold on to so much junk, so much stuff that we look at, clothes we never wear, stuff that's in our closet, things that are up there because they've been there forever? What is it about our psyche that will not allow us to let go of the stuff?
I think it's feeling good about yourself. I think it's guilty, number one, that you spend money on things and you feel that because you spent money on it, you can't get rid of it. Then there's the things that your mother gave you, and she's been gone for 20 years now, and you feel guilty about giving them away or getting rid of those because that's a piece of her that's missing. And then it's, the people who keep the different sizes in their clothes. All that does is make you feel bad about the fact that you can't get in them. Why do you want to do that to yourself every morning? Why don't you just have the clothes that bring you joy? And how nice would it be to walk into a closet every morning and love everything there? And you're loving it because it makes you feel good, because it fits you well, because you look good in it, right? There's something to be said with love. Love is a really strong word in our world on so many levels, right? But what if you use that as the determining factor of what stayed in your life and what went?
Your book is called Enough is Enough, Get Control of Your Stuff. What does it mean to get control of your stuff, and what does it do energetically to us? I know the metaphor is you make space for new things to come in, but how exactly does that work in our brains when we dump stuff that we can then be free and clear? What does that mean?
Well, there's two things here. Number one, when we talk about getting control of your stuff, there's a big difference between getting rid of stuff and then controlling the stuff you keep, right? So I'm all about, we can't get rid of everything, and there are things that you need and you love, but what do you do once you keep those? That's one thing. But then the other part about the mental part of getting rid of stuff, it's an old paradigm is really what it is. It's an old way of thinking that, a lot of people didn't come from anything, and now that they've created a life for themselves they never thought was possible, their stuff represents where they are, right? Well, let me just say something. I have the most minimal Zen home and space ever, and it represents where I am in my life. And does it mean that there's a lot of stuff that shows this is how far I got? No, it means this is how I'm willing to live. This is where I'm willing to be at this point in my life.
When I first met you 6 years ago. You came into my little 900 square foot house in the Hollywood Hills, my beautiful little house, and you got me, actually, you didn't do anything. You sat on the bed and pointed your fingers, but I dumped 27 bags of stuff that, to be honest, I can't ever remember what was in there because it was unimportant. You also made me put furniture on my stoop by my mailbox and told me if nobody takes it in 2 hours, you can have it back. And I've panicked. I freaked out. And a lot of the stuff never came back. And I didn't really miss it at all, but I went out and bought more crap to fill in the holes of where that was. Why do we do that?
Well, the question is, did you go out and buy the right crap?
I did. I didn't buy 27 bags of stuff. I can tell you that.
We filled the holes in with things that A, you loved, and B, were purposeful and served you a purpose and weren't just there. You know, I just got this fabulous lamp. Oh my God, I love this lamp. I love this lamp. And it wasn't expensive and it doesn't take up a lot of room, but I need a lamp on my desk.
Right.
It filled a hole for me that makes me happy. So everything that I bring into my house, before I even purchase it, I say, A, do I need it? And need flies with me, okay? And then the B is, do I love it or do I like it? Do I think it's really cool? If I don't love it, it doesn't stay. And we did that with you. We really created a space with you. You didn't even know when you and I worked together. A, I don't think you realized how much stuff you had that you didn't really care about. And that's the key. People, we're consumers. We want to consume. It's ours. We worked hard for it. We want to keep it and hold on to it. It represents us on some level. But really, does it?
You know, with me, you said to me, you can have 25 pairs of shoes. 25 pairs of shoes is a lot of shoes. And you said to me, every time you buy a new pair of shoes, you got to get rid of an old pair of shoes. And I've really stuck with that. And I don't love it all the time, but it really forces me when I'm sitting in a shoe store. I never buy 2 pairs of shoes at a time ever anymore. I used to do that because I realized that you really got to trade one to the other. But the clean out process is a psychological one, if not a physical one. And most people that I know say, I'm Marie Kondoing this weekend, or I'm taking the weekend and I'm going to do this and I'm going to clean my stuff, right? Mm-hmm. Where do you start when you don't know where to begin?
I say one space at a time, literally one space at a time. But you know, when you go into a room, there's lots of spaces in that room. So it's like, break it down into, when you go into a bedroom, you have a closet, you have a bureau, you have a bathroom maybe off of it. Start in a closet or start in a dresser, drawer by drawer. And literally move around the space and just don't do another space until that space is totally done. And it's a game. A lot of times I say to my clients, 1 hour on Saturday morning, just 1 hour. Okay. Now 1 hour turns into 6 hours because they're having so much fun.
Right.
All I want is 1 hour. I'm not asking you to do the whole room in a day. Just do an hour and see what you can get rid of. And the question is, I mean, people always say, well, how do I make a decision? I'm all about, you got to love it or need it. Now, needed is, you know, there are some things I need. I don't necessarily love them, but I need them. But if you don't love it or need it, it goes. And the word like is the word that messes us up because guess what? We like everything.
You're right. You're absolutely
That's what gets us in trouble. We like everything. I'm going to buy that I like it. No more like.
If you don't love it, you can't have it.
I will tell you, since I went to Campowerment, I only have friends I love. I only socialize with the people in my life I love. I don't have a lot of room for like.
Right. No, I get that. Like is a really weird word because we do it. It enables us to hoard people. It enables us to hoard stuff. Let's talk about work and the workplace. You talk about how you work is more important than where you work. Why is that?
Oh my God, I so believe that. I just feel like when you get into your office, getting productive and being focused is what really moves you forward every single day. And you don't need to move a lot. You just need to inch yourself towards your dreams, whatever that looks like for you. When I come in my office, and my office has sort of been kind of a mess the last week because I've been under the weather and I just got back from being gone for 12 days. I literally looked at this office this morning when I finally felt better and said, this is not going to work for me. Like I saw piles, honestly, and I saw disarray and I thought, okay, I'm going to get on the phone with Tammi at noon. I've got to create the space. I got to go back to creating the productive space for me. And now there's no distraction. I'm just looking at you. There's nothing on my desk but this computer I'm looking at right now. You know, I always talk about everything that comes into our life can only fall into one of two categories. Anything. It's either a to-do or a to-save. That's it. It cannot be anything else. If it's unless it's trash, Everything that comes into our life only falls into one of two categories. I actually need to do something about it, or I need to save it. And so I have systems for just those two things in my email inbox as well as physically. And that's what I teach. It's one thing to create a space, but if you don't start living differently once you've created this space, the mess is just going to come back.
So my theory of cleaning a drawer every 6 months and not following it kind of doesn't work according to your plan.
Well, if you set up a drawer so that every time you go in it, you put things exactly where they are, then you never have to re-clean.
That's true.
I haven't refolded my clothes since I moved.
Wow.
Right? I mean, the drawers always look the same.
What is so you coach people, you speak to people, you speak to groups, you speak to organizations, you have private clients. What is the biggest challenge that you find that people face that is universal in this area?
Getting people to realize that this is their choice. Getting people to realize that this is their choice. It is your choice to live the way you live. You did not move into a house with clutter. You moved into an empty space. So really, you've manifested this. You've amassed this mess, so to speak, in your life that you know is not serving you well. And it's really just a choice that I have decided I'm not going to live this way anymore. You made the choice, Tammi. You literally made the choice with me. After you and I set you up, you made the choice to live a certain way, right? That you weren't going to do that anymore. It's a choice. And it's just really committing to it. It's really committing to saying, you know what, I want this bad enough because I see what I get out of it. I don't spend time looking for things. I don't spend 25 minutes in my closet in the morning wondering what I'm going to wear and being bummed out about I like this, I don't like this, because everything you like, everything you have, you love. Takes me seconds to pick out an outfit in the morning. It's just a mood thing. But I know everything in my closet's going to fit me and I'm going to like it.
So for everybody who's watching today, it's spring. Spring is the time where we're supposed to release and dump for new things to come in. What's the one piece of advice you want to give to somebody who's either hoarding, ordering too much from Amazon, living around stuff that's piling and climbing above them and doesn't know where to start? What's the one thing they could do today?
Get the bags full. Take a bag and fill it with stuff you don't wear anymore. Go to your closet first. Bottom line is we're all human beings and we can't walk around naked. We must get dressed every day. It's a common denominator. Clothes are a necessity. Go in your closet and pull enough to fill a big black plastic garbage bag of clothes that you don't need. And then there's this whole other thing that I'm really tied to in what I do, Tam, which is there are so many people out there that need what we have that we're not using. There are so many people that need the simple things that are laying on the floor in our closet. Well, so you're doing such good by getting in your car and driving that to Goodwill or wherever and giving them to people who could use them.
And what does that do for us? When we make that purge and when we dump, what does that do for us?
Here's the way for you to see your stuff, navigate your life. It's like clutter comes from the word clotter to clot. When you have a blood clot in your blood does not flow freely. It's like when you have too much stuff in your life, you can't navigate your life freely. Not without bumping into walls here and there and being stressed out about it, right? It's exactly the same thing. It's where the word came from. To clutter is to clot.
Who knew? I love that. Wendy Ellin, thank you so much for taking the time to be with us today. Your insight is incredible. Wendy's book, Enough is Enough, Get Control of Your Stuff. She does speaking. She works for groups. She does private consulting. She's awesome. She's a Campowerment expert. We love her to pieces. Thank you so much, Wendy. You've just totally motivated me. As soon as I get home from New York, I am doing another purge.
Yay! Love you.
Love you too. Thanks, guys. Have a great day.